Okay, precious. What did you write?
I wrote, I am angry at John because he got me fired.
So John got you fired. Is that true?
He fired me.
So he is the one that actually said you're fired.
No.
John got you fired. Is it true?
No. I got me fired.
Give me an example.
Because I didn't respect him. I pretended to listen to him.
So you didn't listen to him. Was he your supervisor?
By default, yes.
And was he your supervisor?
Yes.
Aren't we funny? How do you react when you think the thought, he got me fired?
I have no faith in myself.
What else?
I don't take care of myself. I don't take care of my family.
And how does that feel
It feels
emotionally?
horrible.
What would your life be like without the thought, John got me fired?
It would be more powerful. I would be more empowered.
John got me fired. Turn it around.
I got me fired.
So examples.
That seems like a lot.
It is, but this is so important because it shows you how to not get fired from the next one. This whole worksheet, by the time you're through working, it will show you amazing ways to apply for a job, to get the job you want. And now it's time to rest and do the work. That's why people get fired. So John got me fired. Can you find another turnaround?
It's like a fantasy. I wish I could have gotten him fired.
Did you share with other people that you didn't respect them?
I spoke ill of him.
That could get you fired? Or him fired?
I believe it happened for a reason, and I believe that he did me a favor, but I haven't been able to get to the other side of it because I haven't been able to find another job.
If we have to have jobs to be free and happy, there is really something wrong. Isn't that what you want a job for anyway? So you can be happy?
Yes.
Okay, so let's be happy from wherever we are. Did you demean him in the workplace or talk about him in the workplace or belittle him?
I didn't talk about him in the workplace. I talked about him at home, or that's not true. I talked about him in the workplace too.
Oh, I'm so glad you found that. That's how we get ourselves fired. It's not right or wrong, and it doesn't mean that what you were saying isn't true. It's just one way it's one way for me to get me fired. Continue to read.
I want John to be a kind and loving boss.
And how do you react when you believe the thought?
I was either mean towards him or I was needy.
How would you like to have an employee like that?
I would hate it.
Well, he could be just like you. Who would you be at work without these requirements, doing your job?
I would be empowered. I would be truthful.
That's really interesting. It would be like walking into his office or walking up to him and saying, John, I feel like I sometimes slight you. And sometimes I notice myself not listening to you and not respecting you. And for that, I'm sincerely sorry. And I'm working on it. That's what honesty looks like.
John shouldn't say bad things about me to other people.
Is that true? What did he say about you?
He said, don't listen to her. It doesn't matter what she says.
So what he said about you, was it unkind, or can you find where it was true? Where it was his observation and not mean, just his observation. And when he said, don't listen to her, why would he say that? So let me play back for you what I heard from you, okay? As John, don't listen to anything she says, because when I tell her what I want, she doesn't trust me and she doesn't listen. So if you do what she says, it's not following my direction. I want my direction followed, not hers.
Right. That's what he wanted. And that was his right, because he was my supervisor.
And he was right. You didn't trust him and you didn't listen. So how could what he wants be carried out through you?
I was at the wrong job. I was the wrong person for that. Then why am I in so much pain over not having a job right now?
We'll continue to travel. But if I'm in pain, it's because I have said or done something unkind toward another human being, and I haven't made it right. Let's look at the next one.
I need John to get me another job.
Turn it around.
I need me to get me another job.
Yes. Why would you wait for him? No matter what you are believing, you put in your applications and the job opens when it's time. So I need John to get me a job, another job. Can you find another turnaround?
I don't need John to get me a job.
So give me an example of why you don't need him to get you a job.
Because my rent is paid.
That's one. Can you find another example?
I can take care of myself.
Feel that. Like it or not, no matter what you think, you're doing it. And right now, that's your job.
Just not doing a very good job of it.
Oh, well, be your own employer. Do a good job. Work for you.
So I'm clearly not satisfied with the job that I have.
Any more than working with John.
So I wouldn't be satisfied with anything.
These thoughts that you're believing are the cause of your dissatisfaction. If I had the thought I want a job, I would, like Grant, I would have to laugh because I have one. It's to sit here now. I may not like the way I'm sitting, but can I be happy from here as I'm doing my job? Sweetheart, do you get that there's no time you won't have a job? And it's just what you're believing about the job that is the cause of your heartache.
John is a lying, cheating, self-centered fraud.
Could be. Who knows? Where did he lie?
He lied all the time.
One example.
He would say, Jill, go do this. And I would do it, and he would say, I never told you to do that.
Let's have that conversation, okay? Okay, I'm going to be a very open mind. I'm going to be you. And you'll be John, okay? So, John, I just did what you told me to do.
I didn't tell you to do that.
Oh, wow. I hear that. What would you like me to do about it?
Nothing. I didn't want you to do anything.
Wow, isn't it funny how much work I went through for nothing? Thank you for sharing that. I'll listen more closely next time.
Sure you will.
Well, the way you say that, I begin to doubt myself. You know, you could be right again.
I could be right that you won't listen again?
Yeah. I've noticed my pattern is not to listen to you. But to keep my job, I'm really going to try. Is there anything else I can do for you? Or not do for you? Your conversations didn't go like that, did they? No.
Never.
Yeah. He says, I didn't tell you to do that. And your mind said, yes, he did. And it doesn't, when you believe that, it doesn't leave room to understand that he may have forgotten. It doesn't leave room that I may have misunderstood. It doesn't leave any room. When you believe he did tell me to do it, it's okay to believe that, but when you begin to worship that, and that's what the mind does, it worships. He told me to do it, and then your mind shows you all the proof. And you do war with him, you do war, in your mind, and you just hold on to that thing you're worshiping. He told me to do it. He told me to do it. I'm right. He did tell me to do it. And you could be right, but when you don't hold it so tightly, the mind opens to, maybe he forgot. Maybe I misunderstood. And I noticed that a lot with John. And, I'm learning how he is. And I think understanding that, I could be a great help to him.
I don't want to get fired again.
I'm willing to.
I won't get another job again until I'm willing to get fired again.
Wow, that's interesting to hear. So the fear of being fired again could really, really have an effect on the interviews that you do, sweetheart. You need a job, is that true?
No.
John got you fired, is that true?
No.
What do you fear will happen if you don't get a job?
I'll be on the streets. The shopping cart.
That one's popular. So if you were put out on the streets because you couldn't pay your rent and you've got a shopping cart, where's the problem?
I need to eat. I might get cold out there.
So you're out there with no food. You need to eat. Is it true? You need to eat. Can you absolutely know that it's true you need to eat?
Yes.
And how do you react when you believe that thought that you need to eat and you don't
Hungry.
have any food? What else happens when you think the thought, I need to eat, and there's no food?
I'm a mess.
Notice how you do that same thing without the shopping cart, with your rent paid.
I do notice that.
So back to the shopping cart. Beautiful woman out there on the streets. Their shopping cart. Who would you be without the thought, I need to eat? Who would you be just in this moment now without the thought, I need to eat? And the way you can find that, I want you to do more exploration. But a shorthand version, just to notice, is that experience of the fourth question, who were you just prior to the moment that the thought, I need to eat, occurred to you? Did you need to eat then? Prior to the thought? Just the thought, and everything else is you reacting out of that belief. And the fear comes because you see images of a future, of an apparent future, and you believe it's about to be, or could be. And it's terrifying, those images. So who were you out on the streets prior to the thought, I need to eat?
I was just pushing the shopping cart.
Everyone pushes something. Just doing your job. Just pushing your cart. Out there on the streets, are you dead from hunger?
No.
No, so you're doing fine. In reality, it's only the thought in those images of the future where you're going to die. Like from a place where your rent's paid, you put yourself, imagination, out there on the streets, and then out there on the streets, you put yourself into a state of death when you're living. The future, the future, the future. If you want a little fear and terror because your life is dull, get a future. Terrifying. Most realistic movie you could ever witness, your own imagination.
So somehow my security came from having a job.
How happy were you in that job?
I was not very happy in that job.
Any more than, no more than having a different job, which is not to work. For you, that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
That's your job. To be happy without a job. You couldn't be happy with one. See if you can be happy without one, and then you could be happy with one, or without one. And I'd love you to stay with that woman on the streets. I need to learn to ask. I need to learn to listen. I need to learn to, all of these things, if I'm hungry, it can bring in a whole different, it can give me everything that I have never had.
I don't have a sense of who I am anymore.
Yeah, you were the woman who was employed and had a job, and now who am I? But if you look around, reality will show you. You are the woman that has another job. Your job is to be unemployed and to look for another one. And to question anything that would bring on sadness so that you don't have to carry it into your next job. And the next one?
I am a fraud.
And where were you a fraud when it came to John?
I pretended to listen to him. I don't want to keep living the way I've been living.
How do you live? Do you have a kitchen?
Yes.
Do you have chairs?
Yes.
Do you have a bed?
Yes.
That's how you're living. People who are very, 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 very wealthy, that have jobs, you know what they do? They go to the kitchen. They go to the bed. They go to the chair. That's what they do. It's like, what are you believing as you take the trip? Do you know that wealthy people with secure jobs are not secure? They imagine themselves with shopping carts. And so you have an opportunity here, honey. Let's look at number 6.
I don't ever want to see John again.
I'm willing to.
I'm willing to see John again. I look forward to seeing John again.
And let him know that you believed for a while that he got you fired, but that you're well aware that it was you that got you fired.
So I need to make amends to him.
Well, in my life, I do. If I talk about someone behind their back and I hurt their reputation, if I pretend to listen and I didn't, every time I admit that and make it right by living that out, not only with that person, but with the rest of the people in my life, Like maybe I pretend to listen and I just clean it up then, and I'm doing it now, so there's no unfinished business in my life, ever. So this is unfinished business. So in my life, I have to, if I'm going to have any peace inside of me, because it's not okay for me to in any way harm another human being. I cannot get away with it. It's against my nature. That was a great discovery for me. It's not what people say or do toward me that hurts me. It's what I say, think, or do toward them that hurts me. Or supports me. So, yeah, that's pretty exciting stuff. That could be your new job. Doing the work on John until you're ready to make amends for your part.
I'd make amends to get this all over with.
Yeah, you know, I kind of saw it the same way. I just had to get it over with. But I didn't do it until I was ready. And what I mean by that is until I was ready to discuss my part only. So that could be a new job, just making it right. Mm-hmm. Self-realization has no power until it's lived. Zero. Like you know your part, so good for you. Now go share it. You said and did things that were not okay with you.
That's true.
He holds the key to your freedom. Thank you, precious.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Gosh, that's quite a new job that you have picked up. I am the source of my pain, but only all of it. 100%.
Katie, when you talk about making amends, are there a couple of options? Because there's some people that may not be available or may not want to be available in person. Is a love letter a good way to make amends and not have any expectations about how that person receives it, but just...
Well, making amends is 100% for me. So whether they are available emotionally to hear it or not, you know, I respect. That's their part. My part is to get the job done. And if I can't do it face to face, then it would be, you know, through a letter like that. But before I sent the letter, I would certainly turn it around as though the letter were written to me before I send it, because that is quite a beautiful thing to do.
It was very exciting. I don't know where you went to see you do your work. We're doing a lot of research on the value of talent in companies, and what we're finding is people who have done their work are really valuable employees to have, and it goes right to the bottom line. And so you're doing the best job preparation you could do. And I get to be around a lot of people being interviewed, and especially people who don't know how to answer what happened in your last job. And my favorite candidates come in, they get hired right away. They go, oh, you know, I know exactly what happened. My supervisor would tell me things and I didn't listen, and I didn't choose to trust, and I really did the opposite, and I talked poorly about them, and I really figured out that when you do those things, it really makes it likely you get fired. And so here's what I've learned and what I'm committed to doing differently. And that level of ownership that the work is done on that piece
is so attractive.
Beautiful. We hire those folks like that. We go, oh my God, we found another one. Yeah. Because we know, but the person that comes in and goes, well, it's kind of a long story, and I worked for a psychotic boss, and I mean, he tortured me for 10 years.
And I didn't trust him. And
Then when they leave, we have to do a worksheet on them because because we really judge them as unevolved. But so we have to pull it out of the drawer and do it. So I just wanted to really just commend you on what you just did in your own job of getting a job, because that's the most valuable work you can do, and we can see it immediately when you come into your interviews.
That's beautiful. And feel what it would feel like to go into a job interview that clean. Just, all for you. All for you. Not to go in as a secret, wherever you go.
When you do this with something like getting fired and all these other things obviously are connected to that and come up, then do you go back and work on each of those issues?
Oh, yes. I would begin with the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet and identify the story you're in. Then you go to that worksheet, it'll unfold. And it will just really open you up. When you work with each concept on your page, an assumption. So to keep it really simple. And then at the School for the Work, we have just amazing other ways of doing it as you make friends with inquiry. And also on the website, we have some of those for you. Like for example, I love "and that means" exercise. It would be like, they have a job and I don't. And that means, and that whole list of concepts. To question them is such freedom. Or, he doesn't like me. And that means... And then you'd write down a list of what you fear when you think someone doesn't care about you.
So when you're doing this about being fired, you're actually doing a whole lot more than that.
Oh, yes.
So this will continue to unfold.
With the concepts that you're believing that would cause any more stress or separation.